Hello and welcome to another video from Minus Touch Toys, Games, Collectibles. And today we're looking at something that's now quite old, is now becoming increasingly more collectible, especially in this mint unopened condition. We are looking at the 1993 release by Playmates from their Star Trek The Next Generation series of action figures. And this particular figure we're looking at today is of Ambassador Spock, as he appeared in the Star Trek Next Generation television series. And obviously it's all based on Star Trek Next Generation, the TV series, which ran from 1987 through to 1994, spanning 178 episodes over 7 seasons. Now, one of the stories from that television series was entitled Unification, and it was a 2-part episode, and it was featured Leonard Nimoy portraying Ambassador Spock. Now, the episode was set 75 years after the events of the Star Trek The Undiscovered Country, and the episode focuses on Federation Ambassador Spock and his attempt to reunite the Romulans with their Vulcan brethren. Now, filming of the Undiscovered Country overlapped with production of this episode, and the episode references Spock's role in the film. While Spock's initial unification campaign fails, he chooses to remain on Romulus in secret to help the movement. And this particular action figure we're looking at today is from that particular episode, Star Trek Unification Parts 1 and 2. Okay, so this is the figure in front of us, and this is the card it comes in. And at the very top it says exclusive Skybox Playmates Collectors Card included with each figure. It says Star Trek Next Generation, Space The Final Frontier. It said attention collectors, each figure is individually numbered, and it's got new. And we see Ambassador Spock, the renowned Federation ambassador, and you've got a bonus Vulcan action base. It says Starfleet Gear, Klingon Monitor, Romulan Padd, Romulan Phaser Rifle, and the Vulcan book. And it's assortment number 6070, stock number 6027. And you've got the warning at the bottom, very bottom on the left-hand side, which says warning contains small parts, which may present a choking hazard to children under 3 years of old. And on the bottom right-hand corner, you've got the Playmates logo, and it says ages 4 and up. And just stuck on the bubble, it says exclusive Skybox Playmates Collector Card included, and you can see that card on the right-hand side next to the figure. Okay, before we have a good look at the figure, let's turn the card around to the back, and let's see what we got printed on the back. Okay, so I'll turn the card around to the back, and this is what we've got on the back. And it says new Star Trek Next Generation, collect the entire Star Trek galaxy from the ultimate space adventure. It says come in spring 94, Star Trek Deep Space Nine, video game on Sega, Genesis and Super Nintendo Entertainment System. Coming soon from Beyond the Final Frontier, Star Trek Deep Space Nine action figures and accessories. There is an image of a Skybox card of Captain Jean-Luc Picard on the right hand side of that announcement. And it says, collect the entire Star Trek galaxy for the ultimate space adventure. And the figures include Vorgon, Dathon, Guinan, Q, Kayla, Benzite, Law. It says, exclusive Skybox Playmates Collector Card included with each figure. Councillor Deanna Troi, Locutus, Ambassador Spock, which is what this one is, Commander Sealer, Dr. Beverly Crusher, Cadet Wesley Crusher, the Borg, Lieutenant J.G. Worf, junior grade, I think that was. Captain Jean-Luc Picard, Commander William Riker, Captain Scott, Lieutenant Commander Data, Lieutenant junior grade Geordie LaForge, Admiral McCoy, Lieutenant Commander Geordie LaForge in dress uniform, and the Klingon warrior Worf. Now, it comes complete with Starfleet Gear, which is the Klingon Monitor, used as a computer interface terminal, may provide access to larger, more powerful systems. The Romulan Padd, which allows Ambassador Spock to link up to the Romulans' massive central computer banks. Romulan Phaser Rifle, taken from Commander Sealer by Spock when they last met. And Vulcan Book, an ancient Vulcan artifact and a symbol of change for the Romulan people. and you get a Vulcan action base. Stand him up or plug him to his base. Spock's always ready for action. Okay, now on the right hand side at the bottom, you've got all the licensing and copyright information. Paramount Pictures 1993, Paramount logo, Playmate logos. You got the proof of purchase barcode, ages 4 and up, assortment number 6070 and stock number 6027. Okay, that's out of the way. So let's read this access file on Ambassador Spock. It says access granted, Starfleet personnel, record database printout. Incidentally, these were cut out, so you could cut these out and keep them with your figures. So there's a subject, Spock, species, Vulcan and human, rank, ambassador, father, Ambassador Sarek, deceased, stardate 45236.4. Profile, Ambassador Spock is one of the most revered and decorated members of the Federation. His service to Starfleet and the Federation spans over 80 years. He was instrumental in creating the Federation Klingon alliance. Now he is attempting to reunite the Romulans and the Vulcans. Though the Federation would support unification between the Romulans and the Vulcans, it cannot at this time offer any official support to Ambassador Spock. He is operating as an independent mediator. To date, Ambassador Spock's only contact with the Federation has been through Captain Jean-Luc Picard of the USS Enterprise. Picard reports that Ambassador Spock will remain on Romulus, working with an underground movement until peace is achieved. Important note, even though Ambassador Spock is currently working to forge peace with the Romulans, they are still considered to be an adversary of the Federation. Until further notice from Starfleet, all unauthorized contact with the Romulans is subject to extreme disciplinary action. Further access denied, clearance for Starbase level 10 only. There we are. Interesting stuff. Okay, so that's the back of the card. Let's turn the card back around the front and let's have a good look at Spock himself. Okay, so I've turned the card back around to the front and I've zoomed in on the figure and also on the image, the Skybox card image of Spock as portrayed by the late, great Leonard Nimoy. So, what do we think of the facial features? Well, again, a bit disappointed with the actual features. Can you tell it's Spock? Not really. I mean, it looks like a Romulan to me, but there we are. But and being that he's Vulcan, you know, but the Romulans and Vulcan look very much the same. Does the face look like Leonard Nimoy's? Maybe a tad, but it's not the best I've seen of Spock. So I'm a little bit disappointed with the facial sculpting of the figure, but otherwise, I mean, the hair's right. It's got that massive amount of makeup under the eye. I'm not quite sure why they made it so heavily makeup under the eye, under the eyebrow there and above the eye. I'm not quite sure about that. I think the nose is probably about right, and the mouth is there or thereabouts. Cheekbones, yeah, probably more or less right as well. It's just that the face just seems off to me. Maybe it's the makeup that's on there. I don't quite know, but it just doesn't look as close to Spock as I feel that it could have been. Other than that, though, the rest of the figure's great. So you've got he's dressed in his attire that he wore in the episode, in the Unification TV episode, and you can see his well, tunic, let's say, and his trousers and boots at the bottom there. But like all of these figures, they do have some good articulation. So let's just get some measurements of this particular figure. So we're looking at overall 12 centimeters, which is the usual 4 3/4 figure size. And if we measure across his hands, which is the widest point, we're looking at 6 centimeters. And depth-wise, we're looking at about 2 centimeters. Okay, articulation-wise, now he looks like he's got quite a good amount of articulation. Now, I can't take him out because he is actually sealed, but I do have my trusted Dr. Julian Bashir figure here in a classic Starfleet uniform. You can see that they're exactly the same size figures with exactly the same articulation. So I just want to show you the articulation on him so you know what you're getting on Spock. So we've got the articulation of the head, which moves. You've got the arms, which might go up and down. You've got the twist section of the arm at the top there, and you've got the elbow features. So you've got 3 points of articulation on each arm and the same on the other side. So it's 3 points on each arm, plus the head. You've also got the waist. Now, the waist on this one turns. I'm not quite sure about this one because I do think it does. It does look like it's going to turn at the point there. So it does look like another piece of articulation. So we're 3, 6, 7, 8 points already. Top of the leg, 9, and the knee joint is 10. So the feet don't actually turn. So we're at 12 points of articulation. So we've got 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 points. 12 points of articulation on these figures, which is not bad articulation really, considering the size of the figure and the fact that these are now 32 years old. So, but otherwise, apart from the facial feature not being quite right on this one, let's zoom in again and have another look. Side of the face, is it any better? I'm not overly sure. Maybe, yeah, maybe the side of the face you get a little bit more accuracy. I think it looks more like Zachary Quinton as Spock rather than Leonard Nimoy, in my opinion. But of course, Zachary Quinton was never even heard of back in 1993, so it wouldn't have been modelled on him. But there we are. It is the modelling is just not quite right in my eyes. But other than that, the figure's fantastic, as were most of these Playmates ones. I mean, the some of the figures they got absolutely spot on. There's my Ben Sisko figure, and you can see the facial features in that is pretty much exact. So some of the figures they got the sculpture of the face absolutely perfect, and some was a little bit off. I do think this one is a little bit off, but other than that, as I say, great figure. Okay, now you're going to ask, how well did these figures do back in 1993? Well, I mean, what you got to remember back in 1993 was Star Trek was huge. So Star Trek The Next Generation was still running on our TVs. I think we was up to season 6 in 1993. So it was approaching the end of the run. But it was an extremely popular television show. And I think it catapulted Star Trek up to being probably the most popular television series, sci-fi television series at that time in the world. Merchandise was being released left, right and centre. Action figures, uniforms, posters, books, mugs, mouse mats, mouse keyboards. All sorts of things were being released. Action figures was obviously a very, very big thing. Action vehicles, electronic vehicles, model kits. I mean, you name it, it was being produced. T-shirts. What else? Photographs, magazines, books, games, plates even. All sorts of things were being released for Star Trek. It was, at that time, as I say, the biggest Star Wars sci-fi franchise in the world, and had overtaken Star Wars at that point. Obviously, Star Wars did come back when the 3 films were, excuse me, were remastered and sent back to the big screen before the prequel trilogy was made. So it did turn again back to Star Wars, and Star Wars has remained the biggest sci-fi franchise ever since. But at this point, Star Trek was the biggest, and that was all down to Star Trek The Next Generation being such a popular television series, which ran for 7 seasons from September 28th, 1987, right through to May the 23rd, 1994. As I say, there was 178 episodes produced, and a very, very, very popular television series. The ratings were through the roof, and increasing literally each season. So merchandise was coming left, right and centre. So everything that was produced Star Trek sold in immense quantities. Where we had the shop at the time, which was called Faces on Stun. It was a Star Trek, mainly Star Trek shop, but also concentrated on Star Wars and X-Files and things that were current at the time. And I can remember these Playmates figures coming in, but they come in the door, they were out straight away. Especially the new releases. So as soon as we had a box of them come in, box of the new releases come in, a lot of them were pre-order for our regular customers, so they were saved for them. But the ones that went on the shelf literally sold out practically the same day. We had a tendency to stack the shelves on a Friday evening for the Saturday, and as the shop filled up on a Saturday, we literally, most of the new releases of figures, which was usually on a monthly basis, they were sold out on the same day, and then you were obviously reordering. But that went for a lot of the Playmates merchandise back in the 90s. Okay, let's move forward to 2025, which is where we are today. So we're moving forward 32 years. Do these figures come up for sale very often on the platforms? Yes, they still appear on platforms in various different states of conditions. You tend to find a lot more of these figures now which are open, have been displayed or played with or what have you, as opposed to mint and sealed condition as this one is. Now this particular one was a shop find. We bought some stock out from a closed down shop, and there was a whole big box of unsold figures that have been taken off the shelf, and quite a few of those was Star Trek, and there were some figures that have now become quite rare ones, which were in that shop buyout, which we are now making available to our customers. And these figures that this figure we're looking at today is one of those figures that was found in the stock room. So it is in mint condition, and this particular one is even on an unpunched card. If we go up to the top of the card, you can see that the card itself is unpunched. It isn't, so it's never actually gone onto a hook. Getting back to the point though, finding these figures online is becoming more and more difficult, probably because of the age, and obviously because most of the collectors that wanted the figures have actually probably got them by now. So they are becoming more and more difficult to obtain. And also, as I say over and over again, if you're buying online, be careful. Somebody's idea of very good condition could be somebody else's idea of acceptable condition. There is a big scope of differences there between people's opinions, so do be careful if you intend to buy online. Make sure you read the description and have a good look at the images, so you know what you're getting, to prevent any disappointment once it arrives. And also, don't forget, some of the platforms use stock images and stock descriptions, so that you could be looking at and reading the description and looking at the image of an item like this in mint condition. But if there's no new available and is only used, it will automatically go to the cheapest used version. So bear that in mind. Make sure you look to see if it says new. If it doesn't say new and it only says used, click that used link and read what it says, because that's what you will be receiving should you place the order. And it's probably not going to be what you want. Stupid, some of the platforms work really, but that's the way they were designed. It's not the fault of the seller, not the fault of the buyer, it's just the way the platforms are designed. So I don't understand why they just don't have a complete different section for new and used. So it just keeps them separate, but there we are, that's how they are. So anyway, you don't have to go for any of that rigmarole. You can come straight to us at Midas Touch Toys, Games, Collectibles, where what you see in front of you is exactly the item you will receive should you wish to purchase it. And this particular item, as of today, is available to purchase on the Midas Touch website, which you can get to very simply by clicking the link below. It will take you straight to the website, where you'll be able to find this and many, many other vintage Star Trek items. and many other vintage toys, games and collectibles come to that. There's over 10,000 products currently available on our website for you to view and purchase at your leisure. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button, because we're uploading videos for every new item that goes into the website. There will be something for everybody, and I am absolutely positive this is something that you're not going to want to miss, because we literally have thousands and thousands of new items which we're shooting videos for and uploading on a daily basis. So if there is something in particular you're looking for, something old you've never been able to find, something quirky you might want to buy for a friend, or perhaps just something from your childhood that you'd like to own again to help you recuperate those long lost childhood memories, well, stay tuned, keep watching, because you never know the next item we upload could be that item you've been looking for. Okay, that is it for me on this particular item. I do hope you've enjoyed reviewing this wonderful, wonderful vintage Star Trek The Next Generation Ambassador Spock figure with me. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you again next video. So bye for now.